All right, welcome back, guys. What is up? This is Joseph back with the Utah Utes Football Digest. Pleasure to be talking back with you guys. I'll kind of give it a minute or two here for people to start coming in before we go all in. But make sure you guys say hi as you come into the video. Good to have you here. Awesome, Larry. Good to have you, man. Good to see you. Glad. I think this is the first live stream you've gotten to come on, but you always comment on all my videos. So really happy to have you here, man. And with that, if you want, I'm thinking while we wait for some more people to kind of shuffle in or cycle in, you guys can feel free to ask any questions. And it doesn't have to pertain to the Pac-12 we're going to talk, or it doesn't have to pertain to the Pac-12 specifically tonight, but any other questions about any goings on in college football, anything like that, feel free. All right. While we are waiting for more people to come in, why don't we pull up the Pac-12 standings? All right, it's loading. All right, bam. All right, I'm going to put it on the screen here. All right. Let's do the let's see here. All right, that's pretty good. I think that'll be a good look for us here. So, just taking a look at the teams here. So, is this okay? Yeah. So, in the North last year, we had Oregon as the top team. Obviously, we had Utah as the top team in the South. I think that's going to shake up a little as we break down the rankings, just to give you guys a little teaser. That should be pretty fun. I'm just waiting until we get some more people in here to announce who the bottom team is in the the bottom team is in the Pac-12 rankings as I see it. Hey, as you guys come in, make sure you introduce yourselves, say hi, make sure you like the video, and feel free to jump in with any questions that you guys have. All right. You guys want to take some guesses as to who is the bottom team, who's going to come in at number 12? Larry, I see your comment here. The commissioner sounds like he is happy, or he's going to be pushing the USC narrative. Not very happy about that. Like Texas, no one else is supposed to be successful in the conference. Yeah, fair point there, Larry. I mean, I get where you're coming from, that they're going to be pushing the USC narrative, but I mean, you look at some of the transfers that USC got, it's hard not to see people get excited. It kind of seems like some people are really high on USC. Some people are kind of lukewarm on USC. They want to see it before they believe it. Honestly, I think they're going to be good. You guys will see that as I break down all the rankings. I think USC is going to be a good team. Larry, it will not be Colorado. Colorado will not be the last team. I don't believe so. I have my rankings written down, but I do not believe I have Colorado as the bottom team. Oh, I got the video playing on my phone. All right. All right, cool. No, Colorado will not be the bottom team. That probably narrows it down to one or two teams for you guys, so you can probably guess who the bottom team is. But it is not Colorado. With that, though, yeah, I think there's a lot of hype around USC. Hey, as you guys are coming in, make sure you like the video and feel free to comment into the chat, say hi. Really happy to have you guys here. Should be a fun night here. We're going to break down all the teams. And on that, let's go ahead and talk about who the bottom team is, who I have as the number 12 team in the Pac-12. And here we go. Number 12, we have Arizona. So I'm going to pull up some stuff here, guys. So Arizona they're trending in the right direction, right? Not to say that other teams aren't trending in the right direction. There's a lot of teams that are on the come up, right? But I'd say Arizona definitely did a really strong job recruiting and putting out a good effort in the offseason. Let's go ahead and pull them up here. I want you guys to check this out. I follow a lot of the Pac-12 teams just because it's just kind of how it shakes out, right? When you're doing a lot of work about the Pac-12, you see a lot of people talking about some of the other teams. No idea what you just said there, Tagi. But on that note, let's pull up the recruiting class for Arizona. So Arizona actually has a really good recruiting class for 2022. A really good group of guys that they're going to be bringing in. If you guys are, an Arizona fan, I'm sure you guys have a lot to be excited about. The team does look like it's hitting the right trajectory, but one good recruiting class does not make a great program. Like we've been breaking down a lot of Utah recruits on this channel, and I think you guys probably all know that as much as I'm really excited about a bunch of these recruits, to think that any recruit is going to come in right away and make an insane impact on your program, that it's just a little unrealistic. You can be optimistic about what they could bring to the program, but to think that they're just going to, come in here and just kill it is a little unrealistic. So, yeah, that's probably going to pay off in a couple of years. But you know how recruiting goes nowadays with the transfer portal. You're going to have to lock these guys in and do a good job of retaining your talent if you want to keep these guys over their entire college career, right? Larry DeLaura transferring helps Arizona to go with that class. Yeah, so I was just about to talk about it. So yeah, check it out. They are actually the number 22 recruiting class in the whole country. Super impressive. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 4-star prospects. I think that might even be more than Utah has. And then a good chunk of 3 stars here. I mean, a bunch. There's a reason in the number 22 recruiting class in the entire country. And check it out. Yeah, Jaden Glover looks really solid, a lot better than kind of some of the quarterback play they've had. But you look here, right? I'll zoom in a little for you guys. We got this guy, right? Anthony Solomon, a linebacker, transferring from Michigan. We got a bunch of, solid talent transferring in, as well as young talent that they're going to be able to grow. I wish the best for Arizona, but I think the number one reason we're going to have Arizona as the number 12 team in the Pac-12, it's about the team that's already there, right? Bringing in tons of talent is cool, but it's not going to do anything until they start to mesh, until they start to really do well. USC is a little bit of a different story, and I'll touch on that when we get to them. But that was Arizona for you guys. If you want, I can kind of show you where they were ranked. Let me see if I can pull up some of these numbers on the here we go. All right, I'm going to pull up some of the numbers of where they ranked as a team in a few different categories last year, just to kind of show you guys, this is a rebuilding team. All right, let me share that. All right. Larry, I see you there. Yeah, continuity does make a huge difference, right? I mean, like I said, you can hope for the best immediately, but you can't just guarantee that you're going to see, a crazy jump because of some transfers. So check it out. They were the 89th rushing team in the country out of 130 teams. So that's deep lower middle, if not the beginning of the, very bottom of rushing teams. So they definitely have a lot to work on there for Arizona. Let's take a look at scoring offense. I think this way we can kind of break down the teams a little quicker as we go team by team here. So scoring offense. So how many points did Arizona score per game? Let's take a look. Yeah, check it out, guys. 122nd in the entire country. They've got a lot of work to do, and it's going to take at least 4 or 5 games till we start to see a little bit of cohesion there with all these new guys. And even at that point, we're still looking at a team that's going to, hit some bumps in the road. Let's see. All right, and let's check out total defense. All right, let's look at opponent yards per game. Let's see here. Bam. All right, so Arizona opponent yards per game. So they're right in the middle there. It seems like a lot of Arizona struggles are more on the offensive side of the ball, right? And hopefully some of their talent can bring them up a little, and some of this young talent can make a splash. But overall, not looking great for Arizona, right? They need a lot of work before they're ready to be a top team. All right. And now we are going to move to the number 11 team in my rankings. Let me pull them up here. All right. All right. Check them out. So Colorado. Oh, wait. Hold on. Let me make them number 11 so people just jumping in can see that. All right. So number 11 in the Pac-12 is going to be Colorado. Not a terrible team, right? A decent nucleus. This is going to be a lot more about they lost some talent and kind of the recruiting aspect of things. Let me pull them up here. We'll start with the recruiting class for Colorado. Hey, those of you guys that are just jumping in, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate having you guys here. Make sure you like the video and say hi in the comments. Glad to have you here. All right. All right. So Colorado 2022 football commits. Let's take a look here. All right. I'm going to put them up on the screen so you guys can see them with me. All right, cool. You should be seeing them now. Okay, so check it out. So we don't even have one 4-star, right? Still a decent recruiting class, ranked nationally at number 48. But really, there's none of that big talent, right? You'd like to see a little better. I'd say about where they are, right? A C to a C plus in recruiting. You'd like a little more. I think they definitely do have some decent transfers coming in, though, like Tommy Brown here, a 4-star kid out of high school, decent transfer grade. Came over here from Alabama, so could be, pretty beast run blocker pretty quickly. But Colorado has a lot to be desired, right? They weren't a bad team last year, but when you think they had some kids transfer out, you got to hope that they take some big steps in some certain areas. So let's take a look at Colorado's defense yards per game. So they're allowing 436 yards per game, 101st in the country. Really not a good look, right? That's not a team that you think super highly of, especially they're not bringing in a ton of talent. That's not what you want to see, right? For a team that has so much to prove, that's a rough go. It's a rough way to get things started. All right, so taking a look at Colorado's offense. All right, so Colorado's offense points per game. Yeah, 121st. Damn, I honestly, when I was looking into Colorado a little more, I didn't think they were this bad. 17.3 points per game, and then the 101st worst defense in yards per game. That's a rough look. They got a long ways to go, and their recruiting class isn't terrible. It's an okay recruiting class, but you got a lot of 3-stars. I mean, they take a while to develop, right? Like, I don't see them doing anything too crazy this next year. So that's Colorado, the number 11 team in the Pac-12. So now it should be where it gets a little more fun, to where I feel like people kind of knew those were going to be the bottom 2 teams. And I'm sure you guys might know who's coming next, but it'll be a little spicier as we get into these next few teams that could be towards the top, and we'll kind of unveil them one at a time. All right, so let's get that off. All right, so the number 10 team in the Pac-12 rankings, as I say so, is going to be. Oh, sorry, I put Colorado. I would have made it a little more dramatic there. All right, boom. The number 10 team, Stanford. So Stanford's going to be the number 10 team. Close, Larry. But it's going to be Stanford. So Stanford obviously had a kind of a weird season last year. They had ups, right? I believe they were the team that beat Oregon, and that was kind of a big deal for them. But they also had some real lows, and I think that the Utah game was a perfect example of that. We kind of went in there and just beat the crap out of them, right? It really was a bad showing for Stanford. I'm sure they don't like reliving that. That was a really rough go there. And I want to go ahead and pull up their recruiting class. So this is really the bright spot of what Stanford did this past year. They have spots where they struggle, right? Like the team they have there now isn't great, but the recruiting class they're bringing in is pretty impressive. So they had the number 1 recruiting class in the Pac-12 and the number 18 recruiting class nationally. Honestly, they must do a good job recruiting, because I can't believe you have a season like they did. They were 3-9 last year, and then they're bringing in all this talent. That seems wild to me that recruits would want to go there, right? Mr. T, hey, what up? What up, bro? Huge fan. Go Utes. My dad played with Andy Ludwig in high school. Sick, Mr. T. Thanks so much for joining us, man. Good to have you here. So yeah, number 10, Stanford. A program that is at a turning point. Are you gonna have another couple bad years? Or are you gonna develop some of these guys and make them playmakers? So check this out, guys. We got a bunch of 4-stars here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 4-star players, and then a good little stack of 3-stars too. So a good squad. Stanford definitely has a lot to be excited about. When you have that many 4-star guys, you got to think that some of them are going to make a somewhat immediate impact into the program. But I'd say even more than that, what you don't love for Stanford is this, right? 1 transfer. You see what I'm talking about here? 1 transfer. If Stanford needs anything, it's transfers. Yeah, I mean, you want to build slowly, but you don't want to build like a sloth, right? You need to, considering what Stanford, how big of a disappointment they were last year, they really needed more than just 1 transfer. Mr. T, do I think we'll pass the football as much as we did last year? Yeah, I don't see why not. I actually could see us passing the football a little more, believe it or not. I think we'll see Cam Rising mature a little in the offense, and then we have the tight ends returning for another year, a little more mature, a little more talented, grow their skills a little bit. And then we have a stack of young wide receivers that are, gearing to go. We got a bunch of guys that could, obviously, like I said about all the other schools, I'm not going to, I'm going to play it all fair. You never know if anyone that is a freshman is going to immediately contribute. But when we got, 5, 6 young wide receivers coming into the program, I wouldn't be surprised to see at least 1 or 2 of those guys really carve out a role and start to make plays as we hit game 3 or 4 in the year. And I hope that answers your question, Mr. T. Yeah. Do I think we'll pass the football as much as we did last year? Yeah, I think we will. I think we'll I think we could be an even deadlier passing team this year. So we'll see how things go. And then next, let's go ahead and look at the number 9 team for. Or did we look at their rank? Oh, I didn't look at Stanford's numbers. Why don't we pull those up before we pass on Stanford? So Stanford, 110th team in the country for points per game. So, terrible offensive team. And then for defense, total defense, where is it? All right, total defense, opponent yards per game. I'm going to guess just from the game against Utah, this number is not great. Yeah, see, they're 110 and 111. I mean, they're a team that has a lot of work to do. It's not going to be turning around anytime soon, realistically, guys, with Stanford. But all this young talent, they're doing it the right way. But you need to coach them. You need to, you need Shaw to really figure out a way to get these guys developed, because 4 stars don't mean anything if you don't mold them into the players that you're hoping they could be. All right. And then let's go ahead and reveal the next team for you guys. While I'm about to reveal the next team, I'll answer some of you guys' questions. We will have the threat of wideouts. We can only go so far with the tight ends before it starts getting shut down. Yeah. I think that's a great point. I think we looked great against Ohio State offensively, right? Our defense really struggled, but we looked great against Ohio State offensively. But yeah, I think you're right. We'll at least hit matchups against certain teams that'll do a really good job shutting down the tight ends, and then it's going to be, can our receivers step up to the plate? We can't just rely on only using tight ends in this offense. We need receivers too, and I think that was evident at times last year when it felt like we really struggled. We had some guys, right? Some guys really stepped up. There were times where Enos looked really good, times where number 17, Vale, I think that's his name, he stepped up a few times. I mean, we got guys and we got a lot of young talent coming in, so we'll see what happens. I'd love to see Connor O'Toole get some playing time, get Enos involved more. Yeah, I agree, right? There's a lot of guys that we want to see. Yeah, I think it's kind of the sentiment from all of us. We want to see the receivers get involved more in the passing game. A lot of receivers we're bringing in. I honestly, guys, as soon as Keithy got hurt, we had issues moving the ball. Yeah, exactly. We don't want to be a one-dimensional team, right? We don't want to be a team that can only run or only throw to the tight end or only throw to receivers. We want to have a lot of different options. And I think where you guys should be excited about Utah next year is all the young talent. Like, if you guys haven't watched all the young guys, I know you guys are pretty into the videos here, but we got a lot of young guys that could make some pretty immediate impacts. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them do something with that. And now let's go on to P-Dod, thanks for coming in, man. Good to have you here. Think we'll have anyone from the linebacker position group transfer? No, honestly, I think if you're a competitor right now, we have some young linebackers that are coming in. Like a guy like Landon Barton, he could be an immediate starter. I wouldn't be surprised if he is. But I think if you're some of these linebackers, you want to compete, right? Like the linebacker room is really wide open. It's not anyone's job. I'd be more surprised. Excuse me. I'd actually be more surprised if we didn't see more linebacker talent get added. I think we had a ton of talent at linebacker and we lost, 2 top-end linebackers. So hopefully we bring in more talent there. Yep, Larry, we got some jump ball studs. We got some guys that can make plays. I actually think we have more than jump ball guys. We brought in some really fast young guys that should be pretty exciting for us. All right, now we're going to move on to the next team, guys. Let's pull it up here. All right, so the next team that we are going to be looking at number 9 is Washington. Might be a little bit of a surprise for some of you guys. So Washington, obviously one of those programs that, they always have their up and downs. They're not a bad team, but, they could have been a little more desirable in a lot of the parts of the offseason. Let me pull them up here for you guys. So, bam. So we'll talk about their recruiting here in a minute. I just want to kind of show you guys. They also lost a decent amount of talent to the draft, so that's got to be a factor too. But let's pull them up here. So Washington football, Washington. So check them out. Really good defense for Washington. But I believe they have 2 corners going into the draft, right? And then let's take a look at their scoring offense. So Washington's scoring offense, 95th in the country. So we look at that, right? 95th in the country, and then a very good defense that just lost a bunch of talent. That isn't a good equation to me, right? I think Washington could see a steep drop-off this next year, and it could struggle. And they didn't do well last year. I believe they were 4-8. Let me double check. Yeah, 4-8 overall last year. So I see it getting worse. I think a lot of these teams towards the bottom of the Pac-12, looks like a squad that if they could figure it out, could be a good team. But overall, they really do leave a lot to be desired. And I think Washington, this is the scary part, guys. I'm about to show you one of the big reasons I'm pretty lackluster on Washington. Kind of weird, though. It's kind of a mix of two things. All right, boom. Okay. I'm pulling up their recruiting right now, guys. So check out Washington here. All right, so check it out. So the recruiting class is ranked number 94 in the entire country. They had 1 4-star guy, which is solid, and then a bunch of 3 stars. But if you look at the actual 3, it's not a lot of 3 stars, right? It's a handful of guys. But if you look at their actual grades, we're talking about 82s, 86, 83. I mean, I know a lot of this is pretty in-depth, but just so you guys can kind of understand, when we're looking at ratings that low for a 3-star, that's really close to a 2-star. You know what I mean? That's not exactly great. That's a guy that definitely is going to take some serious development. Where they did a decent job is the transfer portal. So check it out. Obviously, kind of like we talked about, I think they really realized that they had some needs on the defense. They brought in a corner, linebacker, running back, receiver. Aaron Dumas could be a beast, huh? Running back. He's a transfer grade of 4 stars. That could be a really good kid. Michael Penix Jr., if you guys know about him, he kind of last year struggled, and the year before that looked like a big-time prospect. But overall, you don't really know what he's going to look like and how much, firepower he'll really bring to an offense. And let's take a look here. Okay. Mr. T, Landon Morris. Let's take a look. All right. Landon Morris might make him a priority for us, whether we use him in the passing game or even jet sweep. If we bring in players from the transfer portal, we need to let them play more. Okay, yeah, for sure. Yeah, when you bring in players from the transfer portal, they came here to play, right? That's why they picked Utah. I think that tight end room is going to be real competitive, though. I don't know if Landon Morris is expecting to have a huge role this year. I'm thinking if anyone from the transfer portal at tight end is going to make an immediate impact, that's going to be Logan Kendall, right? The fullback / tight end from Idaho. He's going to make an immediate impact. I think Landon Morris is going to be, at least for this next year, he's going to be a little more of a guy learning. Remember, he's a freshman. He's got a long way to go. I think he's coming in to be the guy, to be the understudy to a Keithy or a Kincaid, right? Kind of find his role. I think he's more of a Kincaid, honestly. He's a really good receiving tight end, and I'm sure we'll give him reps, but I don't think it's going to be, he's going to have a huge role immediately. I think it'll take some time. All right, guys, and so that was number 9, Washington. Washington coming in ranked number 9 in the Pac-12. A team that has had a weird past 4 years, like a college football playoff team, and then a couple years later, they're going 4-8. Definitely not what you want to see if you're a Washington Huskies fan. All right, and then the next team we are going to be looking at, guys, is going to be Cal. So Cal is, not the greatest team in the world, but of the Pac-12 California teams, they're definitely towards the bottom of that. I think Moore is going to be used more as a receiver. Larry, that could definitely be true. He's got such good receiving weapons that maybe Landon Morris will be more of a receiver in the Utah offense. All right. And then number 8, Cal. Let's talk a little about him here. So Cal, a school that they're right here. Yeah, number 98 in the country. Is this offense or defense? So 98 in the country for points per game. So basically, when we're talking about points per game, here, let me pull it up. Sorry about that, guys. Hey, if you guys are just joining us, make sure you guys, like the video. Glad to have you here. Make sure you guys say hi. Super glad to have you guys all watching. And then what did you say here, Larry? When the Utes whooped them in Seattle, Peterson said, see it. Yep. Yeah, Peterson was the bright spot of that team. All right, so taking a look at Cal. Yeah, so 98th on this list. Definitely not what you want to see, guys. If you're a Cal Golden Bears fan, you don't want to see them ranked number 98. That's pretty rough. College football defense is important, but the number one most important thing that seems to determine your success as a program is going to be how many points you can put up a game, right? You want a good defense, but you want a great offense. Yeah, you don't want a defense like kind of the effort we put up against Ohio State. You want a really good defense, but that's kind of the reason that having a great defense isn't always the most effective thing in college football, right? Like when you go against a great offense, they beat a great defense. And in college football, I'd say more often than not, they thoroughly beat a really great defense, kind of like what we saw against Ohio State with our great offense and their great offense, just kind of running up the scoreboard. And check it out. I mean, Cal had a good defense, but they didn't have an offense that could keep them in any of the games. Do you know much about the LDS tight end we are being linked to next year from California? Pete, I'm not sure. You want to get me a name and I'll get back to you on that? All right. So now let's take a look at the recruiting class for Cal Golden Bears recruiting. All right. Let me share this up on the screen for you guys. All right. And you guys feel free to keep it coming with the questions here. I like them. All right. So check it out. Actually, Cal had a really good recruiting class. It's not going to, immediately change the struggles they had last year. But check this out. Kind of like I talked about when you see a guy that's a low 3-star, where it's like he almost is a 2-star. 0.93 is a really high 4-star. I believe it's actually 0.94 or maybe 0.95 is when you become a 5-star. So, this Michael guy and this Jermaine, 2 really special players. So overall, they have 4 4-star prospects, really good players, a bunch of high-level 3-stars. It's the number 28 recruiting class in the entire country. So definitely, a team to be reckoned with recruiting-wise. And that'll pay off dividends as the years go on. But what we got to look at is here, right? 3 transfers, and none of them have great grades. I mean, look at this. I mean, what are they going to – I'm not saying these guys suck. I'm just saying when you're a team like Cal, I know it's hard to bring in great transfers because you had a rough year. But when you're a team like Cal, you just went 5-8, right? Is that what they went? Yeah, 5-7. You just went 5-7, and you have a lot to be desired in your offense. This is not the kind of transfer portal showing that you want to have. If you want to raise in the Pac-12 rankings, you have to really make an impact that's going to make somebody think that you could be a different team next year. So that was number 8. That was the Cal Golden Bears. With that, did you find that tight end's name for us? I'm trying to find it. Oh, are you guys talking about I shared his thing. The guy that has like offers from BYU and Ohio State. Is that the guy you guys are talking about? Let me see here. Maybe I'll pull it up on Twitter. I shared something. He's a 4-star. Is that right, guys? The tight end you're talking about is a 4-star prospect. Is it Walker Lyons? Is that the kid? Yeah, Walker Lyons. Yeah, I got him right here. So Walker Lyons, yeah, we're in his top 6. Could be pretty sick. As many this is what this offense thrives on, is playmaking tight ends as much as the run game. I mean, obviously we'd like to get better playmakers at receiver, but we have a lot of young guys that could do it. I think Walker Lyons would be a great addition to this offense. Yeah, Larry, I think you're right. He is the number 2 tight end in the class. I believe you're correct on that one. All right, guys. So now let's go ahead and move into the next team. The next team we're going to be looking at for me is going to be Washington State. Number 17, boom. Washington State, kind of an odd team, kind of a hard team to rank, right? Team that didn't have a lot of spectacular going on, but they had a lot of young talent that could potentially be something, right? So here we go. Washington State. I'm going to share the screen with you guys. All right. And all right, so Washington State is right here. They are ranked number 50 in defense. So, solid defense, a little above average. Let's go ahead and check out their offense. Yeah, so the number 71 offense, a little below average on offense, a little above average on defense. That's a well-rounded team. You'd like to see them have a better offense to be this high. The questions here. Who do I fear the most next year? Well, Pete, I think you'll find that out. I'm going to break down all the teams here, so I don't want to. I want to leave it up to a surprise. The team that I think is the number. Just spoiler alert, I'm going to have us at number 1. We're the defending champs. We have a lot of great talent coming back on this offense. But I'll have us at number 1, and I think you guys will be, I think a lot of you guys will agree with me. Some of you guys might not, who I'm sure the 3 teams are probably pretty unanimous. All right, let's look up Washington State's recruiting. Take a look here. Okay, hey, if you guys are just coming in, make sure you like the video, say hi in the chat, and ask any questions you have. I'm glad to have you guys here. All right, so let's take a look. All right, Washington State recruiting. Boom, let's pull them up here, guys. Bam. All right. You should be able to see it on the screen now. All right, so an average recruiting class, number 64 in the country. Honestly, sometimes I wonder where they get these recruiting rankings, because this recruiting class doesn't look. Oh, okay, that's what it is. It's all these SOL guys. SLO, I mean. Yeah, so very solid recruiting class, lots of 3 stars. Those don't pay off right away usually, but over time they could have a big time impact. Take a look here though at some of these transfers. Like this guy, Cameron Ward, a 0.93 graded transfer. That could be an immediate impact player, and that's where I felt like Washington State, I forget their quarterback's name. He wasn't terrible, but I felt like he was okay, but it felt like they could, if they had a real playmaker at quarterback, it would have changed things a little bit. So I think that's a great move for Washington State. One of the reasons I'm kind of big on them, Cameron Ward, 4-star transfer, could be an immediate playmaker, could be a guy that makes a big impact. And they brought in, an average recruiting class with a lot of talent to fill some of their holes. And I wouldn't be surprised to see some of those guys really become playmakers. This was not a garbage team last year. It was a decent squad. Just like we just looked at, a little above average on offense, a little opposite, a little above average on defense, a little below average on offense. But should be a solid team. All right, and now let's go to the next squad. Boom. All right, so the next one might be a little controversial. I don't know. You guys might agree with me. So I'm putting it number 6. I'm going to be putting Arizona State. So Arizona State, definitely not a garbage team, right? Excuse me. Arizona State, they put up 14 points on us. And then we came back for a crazy run and just demolished them. But that was a high-powered offense. A couple reasons I've got them at 6 instead of a little higher is they lost a lot of weapons, right? Like Rashad White, really good running back out of Arizona State. He's not going to be there next year, and I think that could be pretty noticeable when we get into next year's team. But I'd say more than anything, the reason I have Arizona State lower than some people might think is the sanctions. I mean, I'm getting a bad vibe from what's going on up at Arizona State. Who knows if anything will come of it, but I'm starting to feel like they could be a pretty rough team. And check this out, right? They were only the number 62 scoring offense in the country last year. That's slightly below average, or it's right at average, right? And yeah, you're right. Larry Trainum transferred as well. So you can't imagine that Arizona State's going to be coming out here firing on all cylinders. And it's not looking great for Arizona State. Where was their defense last year? I know they had some studs on defense last year, but how did they actually perform as a squad? Let's see. Okay, yeah. So the number 16 defense in the country. So really good defense, but they have a couple guys going into the draft. They have a couple guys transferring. Let's take a look at this team. Let me pull them up on the screen here. All right. All right. All right, so check them out here, guys. So they have one 4-star prospect, nationally ranked, the 108th team in the country. That's a rough look recruiting-wise, guys. And you got to think that's – okay, pretty solid transfers here, surprisingly solid transfers. A lot of 3-star transfers. And 3-star transfer means a little different than a 3-star prospect, right? A 3-star transfer means that Brent is saying they have the most Pac going to the combine. I'm guessing, Brent, you mean that they have the most Pac-12 players going to the combine? Well, I'm guessing a lot of those guys are on defense, huh? I'm not sure if Jack Jones declared. I know Darius Butler declared. I'm sure there's a couple other guys. That would explain it a lot. When you got the number 16 defense in the country, and these guys know there's big red flags in the program, they're declaring, they're getting out of there while they're still being looked at well by NFL scouts. So, yeah, so lots of transfers here, though. Surprisingly, I'm surprised so many young guys want to go be a part of that program right now. You could tell in the recruiting, the recruits were not down with it. So either way, Arizona State, a team that is kind of in flux, right? They could be looking really good next year, but I'd say my heart's telling me that they could be lower than number 6. This is kind of how I decided on Arizona State. I could see them being at number 4 or as high as number 4, but I could also see them being as low as number 9 or number 10. That's why I put them at 6, just kind of even it out. And, for those guys, I hope it doesn't ruin the program, but it feels like we could be looking at some big sanctions for Arizona State and the loss of some scholarships. So let's not dwell too much on that. But let's go to the number 5 team in my rankings. So this is officially the top 5, guys. So we are talking about the really good teams in the Pac-12. I want you guys to, before I tell you who the number 5 team is, I want you guys to take a guess. This is a squad that you guys can all know who's left. We got UCLA left. We got Oregon left. We got Oregon State left. We got USC. We got Utah. You guys tell me who you think it is, and I'll reveal it here in a minute. All right. And then while we're doing that, guys, if you are just joining us, make sure you guys like the video. It helps a lot. It helps get the video to more Utah fans and helps grow the channel. And on that note, if you guys are enjoying the content and this is your first time here, or if you've been here a while, please, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. It means a lot. All right. Yep, you guys are right. Oregon State. I think we were all on the same page there. So just to be clear, I think Oregon State has for a long time been one of the more underrated programs in the Pac-12. They were the only Pac-12 loss for Utah last year. They're a really physical team, a really hard-nosed team, and a group of guys that I think they just they always seem to feel like they got something to prove, right? All right, so Oregon State, we're looking at the number 76 defense in the country, so not the greatest defense in the world. Let's take a look at the scoring offense for Oregon State. And another big thing with Oregon State is I don't think they lost a lot. And then the number 44 offense in the country, I don't think they lost a lot, so I think we could see them become a better offense than what we saw last year, which was already a really, really good running team. If they can, if they can get that pass game figured out a little more, they could be a really deadly crew. They really are kind of hindered by that, huh? All right, so check it out. I'm going to put them up on the screen here, the recruiting for OSU. All right, boom. Let's take a look. All right, so the number 55 national recruiting class, kind of a red flag, I feel like, for me at least, is when you see 0 4-stars. It's not an immediate, that's a garbage recruiting class, but I think you'd like to see at least 1 or 2 4-stars. That just means some of the higher end talent in the recruiting class is coming to your school. I think it's just a good sign. But they have some really high 3-stars, right? A 0.87, 0.87, 0.88, 0.88. These aren't just random guys. A lot of 3-stars too. So a lot of great guys. What you don't like to see is 0 transfers, right? That's why I got them at number 5. Guys, just to be clear, Oregon State looks like a really good team. Nothing against them. I think they got a great squad here, and I could see them being higher than number 5, but there's some really good teams at the top of this Pac-12 conference, so had to kind of put them in here. Hey, Tom, thanks for joining us, man. Good to have you back. Make sure you guys like the video. All right, so now let's go on from Oregon State, and let's go to the next team. You guys can feel free to guess who you think the number 4 team in the Pac-12 is for me. I feel like this one might be a little obvious when you just kind of do the math on who's left, but who knows? All right, boom. All right, man. All right. Okay, UCLA, guys. That's going to be, Larry, you guessed it right as I put it up. Good job. Boom. Mr. T, why does our recruiting say 38 overall when last year we had a top 30? I don't know if they put transfers towards recruiting. They actually, I'm almost positive they do not. They have 2 rankings, Larry. One's like a recruiting national ranking, and then the others for your transfers. Yeah, they're 2 different. They have one that's like a composite grade that's like both put together, but the recruiting ranking does not count transfers. I'm almost 100% sure of that. So UCLA, guys. UCLA looks like a really good team, right? They check it out here. So points per game, the number 10 team in the country last year, points per game. That tells you a lot, guys. Like we talked about earlier, right? A good defense is important, but a great offense can overwhelm teams. So number 10 offense in the country, and then they have a slightly right at average defense. If we could see this defense improve just a little bit, just so you guys know, I didn't put it up here. Number 10 offense for UCLA last year, number 65 defense. So right in the middle on defense and right, cream of the crop on offense. Let's go ahead and pull up their recruiting class. Recruiting. All right. Okay, so UCLA football recruiting. So check it out. They got a really high-end 4-star in Kamari Ramsey, a .932 grade. They got Jack Peterson, a .91 4-star, a nice little stack of 4-stars here, and then a bunch of 3-stars. And then they also brought in a lot of transfers. I mean, you guys can kind of see why I've got them so high on the list. This UCLA injected a ton of young talent, a bunch of solid transfers to fill holes. Excuse me. And looked like a really good squad, this UCLA team. So I feel like even nationally ranked, this is 57. That just doesn't seem right. I feel like that this is a good recruiting class. You know what it seems to be? It's they're not giving the quality, like the high-end guys, as much effect on the grade as they are the fact there's not a ton of 3-stars. I guess that'd be up to your own opinion, but personally, I believe a lot of good guys are great and they help you round out your team. Sorry, but overall, I didn't love that. I'd say that's more of a top 40 recruiting class. That was a pretty good recruiting class with some really high end talent. So that was UCLA, guys. And with that, now we're getting into the top 3. So this is where it gets dicey. You guys feel free to shoot me who you think number 3 is going to be. I think, there's only a few options left, and I think you guys might know who I have at number 1. But feel free to throw out who you think is at number 3. While we're doing that, guys, make sure you like and subscribe to the video. Like to the video. And then if you guys are Utes fans or you're just big into the Pac-12, make sure you subscribe to the channel. It's I love making these videos and I love interacting with you guys. It makes it really fun to make these videos, and I really enjoy talking with you guys. And I think you guys are like me. That's why, just so you guys know, while we're all in here together, that's why I started this. I called this video Friday Night Football, ranking the Pac-12. My hope is, as long as we get a good turnout, that this will be our kind of every Friday night at 8 o'clock thing, that we just hop on here, do a little live stream. If that's what you guys want to do, I think that'll be a fun time. So I appreciate you guys all being here. It looks like we are split down the middle. Larry, you're saying Oregon. Tom, USC. P-Dot, Oregon. Brent, Trojans, which is USC. Let's reveal. Are you guys ready? Drum roll, please. Drum roll, please. All right. Boom. Oh, I accidentally put the wrong team and I was about to post it. But there we go. So, and this is the number 3 team in the Pac-12 for us next year. Oregon. So, Oregon is a really good team. A ton of talent on Oregon, right? But they are in a state of limbo. It's hard to know what they're going to look like next year, and you have to imagine they're going to have some sort of adjustment period, right? They lost a couple high-end players, Verone McKinley, what's his name? Travis Dye, to the team that you guys can probably assume now is number 2. That's where Travis Dye went. But then they also lost Kayvon Thibodeau. They've lost a lot of guys. Let's take a look at the recruiting class. And while I'm pulling that up, guys, the guy that became their head coach is Dan Lanning. If you guys aren't, I'm guessing a lot of you guys know who he is, probably been following it. Yeah, Larry, new schemes and lost a lot. That's kind of where I'm at too. They lost a lot. They have a lot of talent, but they also lost a lot. And that has to be factored in. And plus, who knows how many of the good players they have now are going to, mold right into this Dan Lanning defense. Let's take a look here. Okay. Bam. All right, I'm going to put them up on the screen here. You know what, Brent? Brent says the Ducks get too many of our better Utah high schoolers. I couldn't agree more. I gotta tell you though, I personally think if this season goes as planned, this is gonna be my caveat. If this season goes as planned, and where, obviously let's shoot for the stars and get a national championship, but let's also be a little realistic, right? If this is a 9-win year, 9-win or better year, you got to think. We had the year we went to the conference championship, we got smacked around by Oregon. But even though we got smacked around by Oregon, we were such a damn good team. We were number 5 in the country going into that game. Then we have the rough year with the COVID, but I scratched that. And then last year we go 10-4, and that one of those losses is a shootout with Oregon, or not Oregon, with Ohio State till the final buzzer. I mean, excuse me. I don't think Utah is right now. We're not just a Pac-12 name, guys. I think people really know who Utah is. Like they know we're a sick football team. Like if you're gonna come play Utah, you better be ready to put that chin strap on because we're gonna hit you. We're gonna hit you hard, and we got a good squad to do it. But with that, I think if this year goes as planned, guys, and we can put up at least 9 wins, hopefully 10 or 11 wins. Utah's on the map for real. Utah's really a cemented program as one of the best in the country if we do that. And I think the recruiting class next year will show that. But let's actually talk about Oregon, guys. So check it out. We got a nice little stack of 4 stars here for Oregon. Boom. This is one thing I think Oregon does well in recruiting. They get a lot of different positions. You see this? It's like a bunch of different guys to bring in. They got a couple really good linebackers. Oh, I hate to see that. That's kind of what you were talking about, huh? They got the kid out of Corner Canyon. I saw his signing day. I saw him with that. And then this, Justice Lowe, freaking posted on Twitter when he committed to Utah and said 1,000% committed. Yo, get out of here, dog. And then you leave. Like, I don't think you know what 1,000% is, homie. All right. And then on to the next one. We keep scrolling. They also got a nice little group of transfers here. Obviously, the headliner of the transfer group is Bo Nix. But I think we got to look at here with Bo Nix, guys, if you can see it, is, he was a 0.98 grade out of high school, which is, just so everybody understands, that's like ridiculously good. That's like a 0.98 means you're one of the best prospects to come out in a long time. The issue is you look at his transfer grade. That's the one right on top of it. It's a 0.88. He has regressed as a player. Yeah, Larry, 1,000% Justice Lowe. I don't love that, honestly. Yeah, I'm not gonna. He's a young kid. He's a high schooler. I'm not hating on him. Do what you got to do. What's best for you. I'm just not a fan of that. I don't like people committing to us and then leaving. But like I told you guys before in another video, I got a tip off from someone that told me. I'm not gonna tell you guys too much detail, but like it wasn't just that he left for Oregon. It was like it was kind of a divorce on both sides. It didn't seem like a good fit for him here at Utah. And that's kind of what we're all about here at Utah, is the culture and a family environment for these guys. So, if you're not a good fit, you're not a good fit. And then they also got this guy over here, Christian Gonzalez. This is what I was talking about. So he's from Colorado. That's why I mentioned earlier with Colorado, they lost some of their good talent. He was probably the best player at Colorado. So, all right, guys. And now Bo Nix, who knows what he could become, right? You got to see really what he developed. Can he bounce back? Is this team going to be where he becomes a great college football player? He's a decent college football player, but he had a lot of talent at Auburn and didn't do much with it. It's the SEC, but the Pac-12 is no joke, dog. If you're going to come in here and want to win a conference championship, you're going to have to fight for it because there's a lot of talent in the Pac-12. All right, guys. And now before I move on to the number 2 team in the Pac-12, I do want to just ask you guys again to like, the video. It means a lot. Gets the video to more people. Seriously, I know it's repetitive, but it really does help the channel out a lot, guys. Number 2 thing, make sure you say hi in the comments. I've got a lot of people watching this video, and we've only got about 5 or 6 of us in the comments bouncing back and forth. So make sure you guys say hi. I mean, it's not like I can see you. Just say hi. Why not? And then the final thing is make sure you subscribe to the channel, guys. If you guys like the content, I'm always putting out new Utes content, and I love making it. And the more you guys that keep coming onto the channel and just keep doing it, guys. We got a comment. Let's see here. Boom. You're right. Yeah, Tom. Oregon has fantastic facilities, and that's great for recruiting. But the truth is, until you're really developing these guys, it doesn't matter. I feel like Oregon, I'm not trying to take a shot at them, but they're just kind of soft. I read that too, Tom. They have the best facilities. I mean, they're Nike University. I'm sure you guys have heard that. Like, Nike's basically a sponsor for Oregon football. Like, that's where what's it called? Eugene is where Nike's headquarters is. But just so you guys know, I really feel like a lot of players go there. Maybe it's the Nike thing, but a lot of players seem to go to Oregon for like the flashiness, and they have, honestly, straight up, some of the best uniforms in all of college football. Exactly, Tom. Princesses, right? But seriously, some of the best uniforms in all of college football. You could tell they work well with Nike, but just overall, just a team that just doesn't seem to have the grit to take that next step. It's kind of been the MO on Oregon for a long time, right? Like they won the big one once, but ever since then, their flashy style just hasn't really worked. Like they when they have to fight in the trenches, it just doesn't go well for them. All right, guys. So now let's talk about the number 2 team in the Pac-12 here, USC Trojans. So I'm not sure how controversial this is. Colin, some Oregon players have said they went there. Yeah, exactly, Colin. Some Oregon players say they go there. And Colin, thanks so much for commenting, man. I'll put your comments up on the screen. I don't like when people just sit in the chat and don't say anything, guys. Yeah, so some Oregon players have said they went there because of Nike, right? Yeah, it's and I would say more than just because of Nike. I think like there's a flashiness and like I think a swag to Oregon, but it's not a compliment. It's more like the players want to go there for like this style of football that doesn't get to that top tier, right? Like, I'm not saying like Utah doesn't have the national championship, but it's like it feels like what we're doing right now, this tough nose style of football, is what really works in football, no matter what area you're talking about. So, yeah. And then Larry Kayvon was paid by Phil Knight to design uniforms and NIL, Hinton Pixar. Okay. All right. Well, I'll take your word for it. All right, guys. Now let's talk about USC. So I think this could be a little, controversial. It all depends on what your take is. I think USC, to me, it felt pretty clear that they were the next team. It's us at number 1, and then it's going to be USC. Let's pull them up here. So USC 2022 football commits. National ranking only is 65, right? Not the craziest recruiting class in the world. There's not a lot of depth here. They have one insane player in Damani Jackson, and then Raleek Brown is a 0.98, so another insane player. Oh, I was wrong about where the 4 stars turn into 5 stars. Check this out, guys. These aren't just any 4 stars. Their 4 stars they have are elite 4 stars. The issue is the depth, right? Like, there's not a ton of 3 stars, or like there's only 7 players in the whole class here. That's not a great look. Brent, does UFC have the line to keep Williams going wild? I mean, honestly, if you guys watched a lot of Oklahoma last year, I'm not the biggest USC fan in the world, but I got to be real with you. I think he's kind of like a Cam Rising, right? Like, we didn't have a great pass blocking O-line. All right, if you guys watched some of my videos, our O-line was all about run blocking, right? We would just move people in the trenches, and really we struggled a lot in pass blocking, and Cam Rising was able to use his feet to make plays a lot of the time. So on that note, Brent, I think Williams is going to be fine without a great offensive line. I think he's one of those guys that really has the talent to make it happen without a great offensive line. And that brings us to the next point, right? Caleb Williams, basically the number one guy in the transfer portal. They got Travis Dye from Oregon. They got a stack of transfers. I mean, probably the best transfer class in the country. Maybe that's debatable, but to me, it doesn't feel like a controversial statement. How much rebuilding did USC do because they did Jackson Dart? Yeah, Tom. How much rebuilding did USC do? Honestly, we got to be real, guys. When you build a lot of your team through the transfer portal, it can be P-Dod, do you think our defense will be worse or better next year? I'll touch on that in a second, P-Dod. Excuse me, sorry. But basically what I'm thinking is a lot of the time when you get a bunch of transfers to come to your school, there's a rebuilding period, right? But the thing with USC, let's look at these transfers, right? Look how many, three of these guys, three of their most elite transfers are from what school? Oklahoma, right? The Caleb Williams, their corners from Oklahoma, the wide receiver from Oklahoma. Why is that important? That's important because Lincoln Riley, their new head coach, is from Oklahoma. And then they brought in a bunch of talent that were recruits being highly sought after by Oklahoma, right? So they're coming into a team like, trust me, guys, I still think we are better than USC next year. But let's be clear, this is going to be, at minimum, an offensive powerhouse, right? Like they could be a really good team, but at minimum, they're going to be like a UCLA last year, where they have a really good offense and an okay defense. Like, I'm sure we all have USC fans that we talk to at work and all that. Just in general, I'm excited for them. That's cool for them. They're gonna. I mean, you got to think like when you're used to having such a prestigious program, and you just get smacked around for a year at 4-8. It's got to be a tough go, right? Bryce, hey, thanks for commenting, man. SC will be tough. Utes have them at home though. Yeah, we got them at home. Like Tom and Bryce are talking about. I would, if I was a team other than the Utes, I would not want to be going into Rice Eccles. You guys remember what I was watching from home when Covey ran that kick return back against Oregon, and I'm telling you, my screen was shaking. Like the camera guy was shaking from how much that stadium was going nuts. That was such a cool moment. That was wild, That was really one of my best football memories I can remember is that punt return against Oregon at home at Rice Eccles. While I'm doing that, I'm going to answer P-Dod's question here in a second. But let's talk. Let me ask you guys a question. I'm going to ask you guys a little question here. This should be fun. All right. Perfect, guys. So let's go ahead and drop some comments in the chat. I know, yeah, right, guys. It really was wild. It was such a beautiful moment. Like I made a little like video that I posted on YouTube where like I like recapped that game and like put some music behind it. I probably watched that thing freaking 100 times. Oh, damn, Tom. Oh, you called it? That's sick. I mean, that's awesome. Yeah, such a great experience. Do you think Ganther will do a good job with the running back? Yeah, I do think Ganther will do a good job with the running backs. I think we really won't know, though, P-Dod. I'll tell you, like, we really don't know. Will Ganther do a good job with the running backs for another year or two, right? Like, most of what Tavion Thomas is going to bring into next year is from Keel McDonald, right? It's like he's been learning and from his other coaches. Like, so I wouldn't stress too much about that this year. I think that'll kind of show over time. But let me Dallin, I didn't even see a comment, man. Thanks so much for joining the chat. You can't wait for the game, man. Me either. It's gonna be so sick. And then all you new guys that are in the chat and everything and watching, make sure you guys like the video. Seriously, it means a lot. We get it out to more Utes fans, and I couldn't be happier to have all you guys in here. Make sure you subscribe too. My plan is to do this every Friday evening so we can all get in here and talk some Utes. And then feel free to jump into the chat. If you guys haven't already joined the chat, I'd love to hear your opinions, hear what you guys have to say. But yeah, also, if you guys can see here, I've made this little banner at the bottom of the screen. What is your favorite memory from the 2021 Ute season? And you can't steal mine, the Covey punt return against Oregon. That's not fair. And that's the obvious one. So that's why I took it. Because that's the obvious one. Hey, Bryce, thank you, man. I love your I love the appreciation. Thank you so much, Bryce. I'm glad you like it, man. I love making them for you guys, and I love all the positive feedback. So appreciate it a lot, man. And Ganther was the pick before McDonald was, but was shot down before. Learned from my source a month ago. Awesome, Larry. You want to tell us who your source is, or is it the guy in your picture? Is that who your source is, Larry? Oh, looks like we got a couple guys coming in. Larry, Lloyd's pick 6 against Stanford. Daxton Arnold. Daxton, I think I might have seen you subscribe or comment on one of my videos recently. But hey, man, thanks so much for joining in on the chat. Make sure you like the video, and glad to have you here. Yeah, that Devin Lloyd pick 6 was pretty special too, right? That was still at that point in the game where it was still early, and we were, we were kind of wondering, like, who can we do the repeat? Obviously, we were confident, but you're still nervous, right? This is still an Oregon team that had a mystique about them. We were their only really beat down of the year, right? And they got beat by Stanford. They didn't get beat down by Stanford. We beat them down twice. And then once that Devin Lloyd pick 6, yeah, Larry, you can't let it out. You know how that works. Yeah, I know. I'm not going to tell you guys my source either. But with that, yeah, I agree. Oh, yeah. Oh, that Cam Rising TD run against Ohio State. I didn't even think about that one. I guess it might not stick the same way because we lost the game, but that was so sick. If any of your friends at work are ever like, oh, like who's this Cam Rising guy? Like what can he do? Show him that play. Show him that stiff arm spin, 60, 70-yard touchdown, whatever it was, 80-yard touchdown. I feel like that just explains everything that anyone needs to know about Cam Rising. P-Dot destroying ASU because I despise them. Yeah, honestly, and I would say even more than because you despise them, I would say what the coolest thing about that ASU game is that was just at a weird point for the program for the football season that like us making that happen was such a big deal for our team. It was like that kind of just cemented things like, damn, we really are a good team this year. If you guys know what I'm talking about. Tom Moya, CP3 knocking the football out of Njigba. Oh, yeah, that was. You were at the game? That's sick, man. I wish I would have been at the Rose Bowl. I got to convince my wife to let me go to more of these games. All right. I was at the game, and that was such a relief. Yeah, dude. And CP3, I saw a list that had him as the number 11 draft eligible, like first year draft eligible guy going into next year. And I think he's going to be a big part of next year. I don't know what that means exactly, but I think he's going to be a great player, right? Once he gets going, and he could be a great player as early as next year. And I think he'll be a leader on this defense as early as next year. Yeah, Larry, 3 TDs in the Rose Bowl. Kickoff return, Bernard, and rising run. Yeah, that was a good time, man. The Rose Bowl was sick, but it was funny. I remember we were up 34-24, and I just didn't feel great. Like it was just as much as we were winning and our offense looked good, their offense was just scoring at will on us. And I don't want to dwell on the past, but I just remember thinking like, damn, if we're gonna win this game, we either have to step it up on defense, or we're going to have to score literally every single time we get the ball. So that was a wild ride, man. It's wild to even think. The Rose Bowl feels like such a long time ago. Bryce, are you talking about Cam Rising? We needed the pack and a repeat the 6. Oh yeah, Brent, that was pretty sick, dude. I felt like that was wild. I felt like honestly for me, the home win against Oregon was amazing, and so was this. I was gonna say one was better than the other, but I really think both of them were beautiful and just kind of like gave us such a national spotlight. Yeah, Daxton, right? We needed to score 50. If we were gonna beat Ohio State, that's how it felt, right? It was like they were just racking up that scoreboard. Bryce CP3. All right, guys, and now before we get out of here, I might as well. I don't think I did it the other night where we talked about all the recruits in the Utah class, but I might as well. I mean, screw it, right? Let's pull up the Utah Utes recruiting and just see what's going on. All right, guys, I'm going to share it on the screen for us. Oh, wait, before I do that, let's do the final banner, right? Utes. All right, final banner. All right, the number one team in the Pac-12 is the Utah Utes. Spoiler alert, right? Um, top six. Yeah, Tom. Yeah, you're right. That's Tom is saying Walker Lyons has Utah in his top six, and he's rated 96 as a tight end. Yeah, the guy looks like a beast. It's a crowded tight end room right now, though. But I mean, a guy like that, I mean, you better pick a school. I mean, I'm guessing he feels like he can go anywhere, make an immediate impact, win a starting job. So hopefully he makes Utah that call. That'd be sick. All right, now let's go ahead and put up Utah's recruiting class. I'll kind of talk prospect by prospect for you guys. All right. So early enrollees, we got Jaden Glover, we got Justin Medlock, we got Brandon Rose, Carson Tabaraki, and Ryan Pepins. Really good group of guys. I'm sure a lot of you guys know who Jaden Glover is, right? Jaden Glover is a beast. Jaden Glover is a Maurice Jones-Drew-esque, very athletic, bowling ball style running back that just delivers punishment while being very elusive and having that downhill burst. So a guy you guys really probably going to see his name mentioned next year. Justin Medlock, the next guy, a very well-rounded, very instinctual linebacker that sniffs defenders out in the backfield and makes plays on him. Brandon Rose, a quarterback that has a lot of good, but he has some developmental traits to him that he really does need to work on. Wouldn't be surprised to see Brandon Rose redshirt a year to really work on some of his skills. Carson Tabaraki, the next kid, a beast. Huge kid, 6'2", 225, probably going to get bigger before the season starts. His running style, his film at tight end reminded me of Gronkowski. Looked like a beast. Next guy, Ryan Pepins, monster, guys. Fastest player on the team, probably. This guy, you get the ball in his hands, and he can take it for 80, 90 yards. He'll be the fastest player on the field in almost every situation. If you guys haven't watched his tape, watch it. The guy is a burner. He's a beast. All right, and then let's go down to the next little group. All right, guys. So this is a sick group of guys too here. So first guy, Landon Barton. If you guys don't know him, he is the talk of the town, a 0.95 grade. That is, we're talking about an elite prospect here. He plays linebacker. The guy is probably the most one of if not two really immediate impact type of guys. Landon Barton could be an immediate starter. Looks like a monster, guys. If you guys haven't watched the tape of him, watch it. But I'm guessing if you guys are so into Utah football that you're watching this channel, you know who Landon Barton is. Next guy, Nate Johnson. One of the most watched videos on this channel was my breakdown of Nate Johnson. The kid has a sick arm. He has, really good athleticism to run the ball as well. A guy that isn't probably not going to make an immediate impact because he's a quarterback. And right now, this is Cam Rising's team. But a guy that could really make an impact very soon, especially if we see Cam Rising going to the draft next year. Yeah, exactly. Daxton, very excited for Nate. Larry, Diabate and Pilgrim will be a great linebacker combination. I really wouldn't be surprised if that was the combo, right? Those two would seem like the clear-cut guys to me, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. How odd is it? Utah plucks 2 SEC country players of the year in Alabama and Florida. Yeah, right. That is cool, huh? Yeah, we got some sick guys on here. All right, the next guy, I don't know how to say his name, Teow Johnson. 6'3", 205, a very wiry guy that is good off the edge and at linebacker. I'm not too familiar with him. I am familiar with him, but I'm not crazy familiar with him. I know a lot of people are really excited about Akana. I'm excited too. Hopefully he makes a huge impact. So P-Dod, Cam Rising, my favorite player in the Pac-12 era. Favorite quarterback. Yeah, Cam Rising is a monster, dude. It is his starting job unless he loses it. Let's not do this whole spring training, start Charlie Brewer again. Let's not do that. Let's just put Cam Rising in, let him do the damn thing. I'm pretty sure that's what's going to happen. I'd be extremely surprised if Cam Rising wasn't just a clear-cut starter. But anyways, so we take it to the next player, Sydney and Benassor. This kid is a big physical athlete out of Texas. Huge guy, a guy that has a lot of raw talent, very fast, very physical. I believe he's newer to football, and that did kind of show on the tape. Not a shot at him, just he's a guy that has a lot of raw tools, and as he develops a bit, they'll be extremely deadly on the field. All right, the next guy, I'm going to scroll down a little here. The next guy is Teow Johnson. So Teow Johnson, I did an interview with him. Great kid, man. Great guy to talk to. Really smart guy. He is 6'2", 180. An athlete out of Idaho that has a lot of explosive speed. A guy that I think they're gonna, from what Teow told me when we were chatting, they're gonna try him. They're gonna try him at receiver. They're gonna try him at DB. I love that with athletes. Try him at every position until something clicks. And let me put a banner across here, guys, for you. So I'm going to put this up while I break down all the prospects. Who is your favorite 22 recruit, guys? Make sure you guys answer that. Yeah, exactly, Daxton. So from what I understand is they're leaning towards wide receiver, but he could play DB. I wouldn't be surprised at either one, though. And before I dive into the rest of these prospects, make sure you guys answer who your favorite recruit is. With that, I want to just say, those of you guys that are in the chat watching, make sure you like the video. Subscribe to the channel. Seriously, it means a lot, and I'd love to keep making content for you guys. It's my favorite thing to do. And if you're sitting here watching and you haven't joined the chat, we're having a good time over here. Jump into the chat. It's fun. All right. Let's see. Larry, any word on Keith Olsen from Olympus, who's going to be a walk-on? I believe that is who it was from Olympus High for sure. Check him out. He's right on the screen there. Larry. Or maybe you're talking about somebody else. But anyways, yeah, Keith Olsen, a huge kid out of Napa Vine, Washington, a beast. But we'll talk about him in a second. Teow Johnson, a guy I'm excited about. Elijah Davis, ball hawk, guys. Ball hawk and Elijah Davis. I'm going to talk about Elijah Davis and Jocelyn Alaska in the same note. Both guys really good ball hawks, right? Guys that you could tell that was the point of bringing in these two guys. And they were signed within maybe a week. They were signed very close together. Both look really good. Guys that are athletic and can go up and win those contested matchups on jump balls. I think these guys were brought in after the Ohio State game and how we got beat over the top. So hopefully that works out. All right, let's see. Daxton saying his favorite prospect for the recruiting class, either Nate or Teow Johnson. It's awesome. Both those guys are up there for me as well. Glover for Brent. I think that's pretty common. A lot of people are really excited about Jaden Glover. The kid's a beast, and he's he brings a cool attitude to him too. I can see a lot of the other players being drawn to him. It kind of feels like they are, and hopefully, he steers them the right way. Larry, not Keith. Can you remember his name? Bryce. Landon Barton's another one. Pretty unanimous, right? A great kid, a great guy, and a hard worker that should be an immediate impact player, if not an immediate starter, an immediate rotational guy and a late season starter, right? Then Anthony or Colin Kills. I think he's asking Anthony Olsen for Olympus High School. I think that actually might be where Anthony Olsen's from. He's the tight end. He flipped to BYU. I think that might be who you're talking about, Larry. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Is that who you're talking about, Larry? The tight end that flipped to BYU? I'm pretty sure that's who you're talking about. Yeah, he flipped on signing day. So that was pretty whack. I had him in one of my videos. Sad to see him flip, but he's really raw. He was gonna be a few years before he really became a great football player. P-Dot, I agree, man. Pepin's is one of the most athletic and fastest players I have seen come to Utah. Just a guy that honestly I think I want to see him catching screens. Right? I don't even care if it takes him a little while to really get his feet under him in the NCAA. I would really love to see them just try to get the ball to Pepins and just say, "Hey, tuck that ball and just hit the hole as hard as you can. We just want to see if you can make something happen." Yeah, Larry. So yeah, Anthony Olsen flipped to the Zoobs. It was pretty whack, but is what it is. If you want to go TDS, then that's all you, man. I actually don't have any interviews lined up. I don't like to ask too much of you guys. I really just appreciate you guys interacting with me. If you really want certain guys to get on the channel, feel free. Just so you guys know, basically from what I've been informed is if they're early enrollees, I was told I'm not supposed to talk to them like this group, which sucks because Jaden Glover, Ryan Pepins, Carson, right, and Justin. If they're early enrollees, I think I might not be supposed to talk to them. But basically, anyone from this list, which Lander is on this list, guys, we could probably get them on the show. If you guys are on Twitter or you're on Instagram or whatever, make a post, tag these guys in the post. I've messaged a bunch of these guys and I really want to chat with them, get to know them, and get you guys a video, like learning more about them. Tag them in the post and just say, "Hey, man, you should go on the Utah Youth Football Digest. I'd love to see you." And just so you guys know, my Twitter handle, if you guys aren't already following it, I don't think I've ever shared it on the live stream. So let me put it up here for you. Utah. Yeah, so here it is, guys. If you guys aren't already following me on Twitter, it's at Utah Utes Balling. You should follow me. And yeah, Daxton, I would love to get Lander and Nate on the interviews. I just honestly we gotta get their attention, right? Those are the two biggest prospects. It's probably everybody in Utah football is wanting to get them on. So if you guys want them to come on here, tag them on Twitter. Seriously, I would love to have them on. It'd be sick. All right, but anyways, guys, let's go to the next little group. Let's see here. Boom. I think Molaska would be a great DB really quick and in a hurry. Yeah, honestly, I actually might have him on. I don't want to give any guarantees, but Molaska, a guy I'm really excited about, and hopefully he would come on. We'll see how that goes. But seriously, guys, anyone that you want to come on the show, tag them on Twitter. Tell them to come on. We'll make it happen. I'll find some time in my schedule. All right, so the next guy, Dallas Vakalahi, beast, 6'2", 305 as a freshman, or I guess as a a returning missionary, right? For Vakalahi, he was just on his mission. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he was. Looks like a beast. If you guys haven't watched the tape, very physical guy, throws people around and is really hard to stop. Has a pass rush ability as well as a run stop ability. This actually, I guess I haven't been commenting too much about Dallas, but probably one of the guys that could be a real immediate starter, right? I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Dallas become a guy that, this D line is a little lackluster right now. I know they're young, but there's not a lot of well-rounded guys. Excuse me, on that D line, so I could see him coming in, making an immediate impact. That'd be sick. All right, the next guy is going to be Keith Olsen, a huge kid out of Napavine, Washington. A little raw, right? A little raw, but the guy is a monster, can throw people around, a really good athlete, and someone that was, uh, new to football, but I'd say you watch his film, a lot of pancakes, a lot of physicality. You give this guy a year or two, and he's going to be really, really good. But he needs to develop. He's probably not a right away starter, maybe a spot filler if we need him. Chris Reed, one of the guys I did an interview with, really nice kid out of Florida, 6'1", 190, a 0.85 grade. Yo, just a kid. It's a playmaker, right? Like he said, he likes to embarrass opponents. Big time playmaker for the Utes. He has a lot of football skill for how young he is. He's a guy that I would keep an eye on, guys. I wouldn't be surprised if Chris became a starter or at least a rotational guy sooner rather than later. All right, the next guy, Chase Kennedy, the guy I did the interview with last night. Really nice kid, really smart kid, nice to talk to. And if you guys haven't watched his tape, go watch Chase Kennedy's tape. I have no idea how he's rated a 0.85. The kid flies off the edge, sets the edge really well, and is a physically dominating player. 6'3", 225 coming in as a freshman. He gains 10 pounds, and he's got almost the exact same frame as a Devin Lloyd. And you guys know how talented Devin Lloyd was off the edge. So, awesome. And then in the next one, let's see here. Okay, Tyler Knack. So this is a guy you guys should be really excited about. Tyler Knack, actually, if anyone's likely to be a very early starter, I'd say it's him. He's got a really mean, really physical tape that's very impressive. I wouldn't be surprised to see him make an immediate impact for the Utes. Kid looks great. Really good, actual talent and football technique. I think Tyler is probably one of the most likely guys to be a starter. I don't know if they'd start him next year, but he's huge. I mean, he's 6'7", 300. It's not a size thing. He's got the technique. And if you watch his tape, he is strong as heck. So I definitely a spot filler guy immediately, though. All right, so let's check out this next kid, guys. Mohamed Diabate. So I know, I think it was Larry earlier was asking about him. Mohamed is a monster. He was he was a linebacker for Florida. I believe he was the leading tackler on their team last year, if not second in tackles. A really mean guy. He's probably a starter right away, guys. He's going to be a name you're going to want to know. And another guy I'd love to get on here if it was possible. So check him out. Really, really good guy. Landon Morris, we got him there right under him. 0.86. This kid. Oh, and someone said earlier he's a receiver. He's being brought in as a receiver. It says receiver. I just know he was listed as a tight end when he transferred, but that's great. He could make an immediate impact as well, right? If you guys watch the film breakdown where I talk about Landon Morris, he has exciting tape. His receiving ability is really good. A lot of it looked like it was against safeties and linebackers, but still, it was really impressive tape. And then Logan Kendall, the final guy, I did an interview with him a few days ago. The Rhino, this kid is a monster. He is absolutely an immediate starter. He runs people over. He is a monster and some of the best run blocking ability that I've seen that I can remember. So a kid you guys are going to be really excited about, and he's deadly with the ball in his hands. So that is that, guys. Whew, every team in the Pac-12. This was fun. If you guys are still here and you haven't liked the video, please like it. It helps grow the channel. And on that note, guys, it is time for me to go. I appreciate it a lot. You guys tuning in, and I'm a little tired, and I'm going to go enjoy the rest of my Friday night. I suggest you guys do the same, and make sure you guys follow me on Twitter at Utah Utes Ballin'. And pleasure talking to you guys tonight. Seriously, guys, I do this channel to to interact with you guys and talk about the Utes, so it's been really fun. I hope you guys have a great night, and go Utes. Hey, Daxon, thanks for tuning in, man. Bye, guys.